Recording.
We'll call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Are we recording? Okay. Mayor Reese,
I hear.
Councilmember Osk,
Here.
Nelson, Davis,
Here.
Schultes,
Here.
O'Brien,
Here.
Butterfield,
Here.
Osmus,
Here.
Fagerly.
Here.
8 present, 1 absent.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, do we have any additions or deletions?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'm hoping that it's probably a source of community pride, but if Chief Hansen could walk us through right before community pride, just the response that the fire department and other city employees were involved with down in Raymond with the recent railroad disaster down there.
Sure. Where would we put that?
Right before community pride would be my suggestion. And then I'd offer a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to approve the agenda as prepared with the addition of the community pride item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, we need to do a roll call
Oh.
in Julie's absence.
And I knew that
Sorry.
too. I'm sorry.
I know.
Say Doug. All right, roll call.
Councilmember Osk,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Schultes,
Aye.
O'Brien,
Aye.
Butterfield,
Aye.
Osmus,
Aye.
Fagerly.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Consent items. Judy?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, on tonight's consent agenda, we have for council's approval the city council minutes of March 20th, city council work session minutes of March 14th, CCT minutes of September 27th of 2022, CVB board minutes of January 27th, Municipal Utilities Commission minutes of March 27th, Parks and Recreation Board minutes of November 16th, Parks and Recreation Board minutes of February 15th, the Police Commission minutes of February 6th, the Accounts Payable Report of March 15th through March 28th, Municipal-Owned Property on Sale Liquor License Holder Permit for Spurs Corporation, a resolution setting the statutory municipal liability coverage limits for the city options, the updated city safety equipment gear policy, a resolution for Public Works pickup purchase amendment, a Police Commission appointment of Willmar and Clark, the Airport Commission appointment of David Fry.
All right. We need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions? Come on, Councilmember Osk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can I pull item K?
Okay. Anything else? All right, we'll roll call on the remaining reports.
Councilmember Davis,
Aye.
Schultes,
Aye.
O'Brien, Butterfield,
Aye.
Osmus,
Aye.
Fagerly,
Aye.
Osk.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
I would like to thank Lilburn Clark and David Fry for serving in the capacity of Lilburn on the Police Commission and David on the Airport Commission. All right, item K, Councilmember Osk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Clerk Thompson, I was wondering if you could just walk us through this a little bit. It seems like it's well, it even says in the CAR report that it's a change in what we've done previously, correct? But
I'm sorry, there's no change. It would just be to adopt it as we have in the past. where we do not waive the statutory tort limits.
So the recommended action on the car report is to set it at $500,000 and 1.5. In the past, we've chose do not waive. Am I reading something incorrectly?
Yeah, yes, those are the limits that we have set, so we don't waive. We're just approving the limits that they are set that way. We're not waiving it to change it to something different. It's a little bit confusing.
Okay. And then I know you walked through a couple different options that the council could choose if we wanted to go in a
Correct.
different direction. So I thought maybe there'd just be some conversation about it, but I'm content to make the motion to approve the resolution adopting the municipal tort limit set at $500,000 per claim and $1.5 million per occurrence.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any questions? Roll call.
Councilmember Schultes,
Aye.
O'Brien,
Aye.
Butterfield,
Aye.
Osmus,
Aye.
Fagerly,
Aye.
Osk,
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
All right. Open forum, we don't have anybody signed up, so we'll go to regular business. Jared, accept and authorize final payment for project number 2203A.
Yeah, good evening, Mayor and Council. This is one of the projects that was completed last year during the construction program, the 19th Avenue Southeast and Lakeland Drive Southeast project. That was done by Minnesota Paving and Materials. And the information associated with this project in particular, there's a resolution in your packet. I'll walk through that a little bit. The original contract amount was $1,325,894.92. You'll note that a change order number 1 there is included. That is a deduction change order to reconcile the total project cost, because as of completion of the project, the total project cost is $1,246,101.20, which results in a final payment to the contractor in the amount of $102,091.06. With, if council chooses to adopt that resolution, that payment will be made, and then the 2-year project warranty period will be initiated. And I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Anybody?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to approve. Discussion.
Got a question.
Rick?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the 2 years will start after the payment in full?
Yeah, so assuming council adopts a resolution tonight, the 2-year warranty period will start April 4th, 2023, and will expire April 4th, 2025.
Okay. I have no problems with it, but my concern is driving and looking, they don't seem, the sections together as good as they used to years ago.
Okay.
You can see a lip, and now you're driving on Lakeland Drive by the Y, and it's separating there. I was just wondering how long it'll be until the new section, is it 4 or 5 years?
That's anybody's guess, honestly, but Public Works Director Manzer and I are looking at the section north of Willmar Avenue. And so to predict the section that was overlaid south of Willmar Avenue, I think a lot of that, to be quite frank, is doing these projects under traffic, because what happens is it allows a cold joint. So you lay a mat, you change traffic over so that they're driving on the new mat, and then that mat edge cools, and when they come back to pave, they got a cold edge that they're going up against. Based on the traffic volumes on that road, though, I don't know that there's any way we could detour that thing either. So, it's certainly something we could look into at future projects. I know down the road, couple of years, we'll be looking at First Street as well, but, again, it's kind of
Well,
predicated
it's not
by
in Willmar,
volumes. It's
all
everywhere. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep.
But I just notice it because, I don't know, I drive a lot, so
And you pay attention.
I pay attention.
Yes.
So, thanks.
Yep.
Jared, is that what we have on Fifth Street East, south of Willmar Avenue? Have we got a cold joint there?
I'm not familiar with that one exactly, but I could certainly look at it.
Got a long strip that,
Usually where the two, because of the width of the streets, typically what they do is they take multiple passes down the street, as you know. If one of those passes is done a significant amount of time prior to the last pass coming through, and that joint, it's the hardest thing with paving is
Yep.
the best thing to do is echelon paving where they have multiple pavers going down the street, but again, then it's detour. So might be something that we should look at
south
in the
of Fifth
future.
Street, about, well, it's between the two curves. Gary knows what I'm talking about. It's yeah.
Okay.
So, okay.
Right?
All right, any other questions? Otherwise, we have a motion. Roll call.
Councilmember O'Brien.
Aye.
Butterfield.
Aye.
Osmus.
I,
Fagerly.
Aye.
Ask.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Schultes.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
That passes.
Thanks, Council.
Thank you, Jared. DNR Public Water Access Cooperative Agreement. Gary?
I just want to piggyback on what Jared said about Lakeland Drive and Fifth Street, just so you know that Lakeland Drive is scheduled as our crack seal and seal coat project for 2024. We have a big project this year, but we've identified that on our plan for 2024. So we'll do some things and we'll see some improvement there. So just, we're well aware of it, and it's kind of frustrating because it seems like, to me, it seems like a brand new road, but I know it's been there a few years.
Are you able to do some crack sealing on Fifth?
Yeah, we'll look at that too. Yep. We've got we're kind of worked out I think we're out 6 years on a plan. So we're working on it. We're trying to get a plan
It's
to.
just gonna get worse if. we
Right.
don't do something.
Yep. Okay. Sorry for the distraction. Here we're back to the adopt the resolution approving the public water access cooperative agreement with the Department of Natural Resources. And this agreement basically covers the 3 boat landings that we take care of. It's the 2 at Robbins Island and the 1 at the fairgrounds. And the DNR is going to give us a dock for a new dock for the fairgrounds one. But they want, this agreement had expired, so they wanted to re-up this agreement. It's a 20-year agreement. It's one that's been in place in the past. So I guess I could stand for any questions if so.
Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Tom?
The fairgrounds one, is this on the north side or south side of the lake?
North side. But kind of right by the fairgrounds. That spot on the south side there, that's really not an access. That's a homemade access. We've tried to keep it closed off and we get a lot of pushback from the ice fishermen, but technically it's not an access to the lake at all.
The reason they didn't put it out last year was because of no dock or what?
At the fairgrounds?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what happened was, our docks failed. We had 2 docks fail on us, and we were able to purchase 2 docks, but the DNR, we were working with the DNR to get a 3rd dock there, and then ended up, they found this agreement that wasn't brought up to date, so that's where we're at, so.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Roll call.
Councilmember Butterfield.
Aye.
Osmus.
I,
Fagerly.
Aye.
Ask.
Aye.
Nelson. Davis.
Aye.
Schultes.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
That passes. C, set the public hearing date for the Tevelon rezone. Kyle?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, council. The property owner at 702 Litchfield Avenue Southeast is requesting that property to be rezoned from residential to general business district. The property owner owns the adjacent car dealership at 706 Litchfield Avenue Southeast. And currently, he's requesting to use that lot as vehicle storage, which is not allowed under the current residential zoning ordinance. So tonight, we're just requesting that a public hearing be set to the next regular council meeting to be acted on. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Also introduce the ordinance.
And to also introduce the ordinance. Thank you.
Okay. Butterfield?
What's gonna happen with the house that's currently sitting there? I know it's been vacant for like 2 or 3 years.
Sure. I don't have that answer for you tonight, council member, but we can make sure to, that we can have that answer for you at the public hearing.
Okay. Any other questions? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to set the public hearing for April 17th at
What time?
6:33.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any questions?
I didn't catch who seconded it.
Uh,
Brian? Okay, thank you.
Roll call.
Councilmember Osmus,
Aye.
Fagerly,
Aye.
Osk,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Schuldes,
Aye.
O'Brien, Butterfield.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
That passes. Next item. Frank, consider approving the purchase of a second set of turnout gear. Good evening, Frank.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I'm here tonight to ask you to approve a resolution for us purchasing a second set of turnout gear, firefighting turnout gear for each firefighter. As I've kind of told you in the past with the gear washer and stuff, we try to keep our gear clean. Once the firefighters go into a smoke-filled environment, they're required to wash their gear and dry their gear. The process between washing and drying takes about right around 10 to 12 hours. And if we have a whole bunch of people in a firefighting situation where that's required, that takes those firefighters out of the realm of providing service for that amount of time. With the second set of turnout gear, they can get right back into it and come back to the station, switch out their turnout gear, and be ready for the next call. So we got some quotes from 2 different manufacturers. The one that we currently work with, Municipal Emergency Services, or MES, was a low quote for approximately $3,500 per set. And then also we would need to purchase a protective hood and another pair of gloves for them. Total would be a little over $137,000 to outfit the entire fire department with a second set of gear. If you remember in the past, money was set aside, $160,000 was set aside in the American Rescue Plan Act funding that we received. So I'm asking to use that money for this purchase.
All right. Questions? We have a motion.
So,
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Discussion? There being none, roll call.
Councilmember Fagerly,
aye.
Osk,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Schuldes,
Aye.
O'Brien, Butterfield,
Aye.
Osmus.
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nay.
That passes. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
Next item is a rebranding request for proposals for the city. Kyle.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. City staff would like to request authorization to release an RFP from qualified consultants for rebranding for the city of Willmar. And what we'd be asking from the consultants is to research, create, develop, and help generate an implementation plan for the city branding initiative for the city of Willmar. The proposed branding program would be used in the following ways. The new brand strategy would be a beacon that guides all aspects of how the city presents itself, unifies stakeholders to deploy the brand, and consistently offer superior experiences. Second, build awareness of internal and external stakeholders by providing an established and seamless image across all participating partners. With that, we've had the opportunity to meet with the Willmar Lakes Area Chamber of Commerce, the Willmar Lakes Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, and the Candioi County City of Willmar Economic Development Commission about partnering and coming together on this and looking for opportunities there. And probably what we're all thinking when we think of rebranding is to provide a brand icon and a tagline. And finally, to aid in producing tangible results for economic development, tourism, quality of life. The branding platform is meant to harmonize the marketing of businesses, recruitment of employment, special events, city government, tourism, education, and historical and recreational activities. The intent is to have a unifying theme and message about the Willmar community, what separates us from similar communities, and serves to attract visitors and businesses to Willmar. Now, the council adopted the red W as the official logo in the early 90s, and has been used ever since. Various department logos were developed independently by each respective department since there are no brand style guidelines when the logo was created and adopted in the 90s. There is not a brand development strategy that we use at this time. So the desired outcome is to develop a brand that truly reflects the city at this stage in its history. Uniformity, community identity and pride, community and economic development promotion, flexibility, and endorsements. Now, I'm not a marketing expert. I do not have a degree in marketing, and I do not claim to have one or know a lot about this. But what I do know is that when this is done right, it's powerful. It takes the city and its participating partners to that next level. That unification is really, really important. Like I said earlier, the chamber, the CVB, and the EDC I had reached out to them and asked if they were interested in just looking at this draft proposal, see if they were interested in participating. And we have a really unique opportunity here when all of these entities that represent Willmar in different capacities are willing to partner with us and share that same message, share that same vision, share that theme. And second, I think maybe not as important as that, but this comes at a really opportunistic time as well, is that we're working on City Hall and a community center, and I can't think of can't think of a better opportunity to initiate this rebranding process while we're in the midst of hopefully moving forward. If the council so chooses to move forward with the City Hall and community center, we could line that up really well, I think. So again, at this time, it's just authorization to release an RFP. This will be brought back to the council if this goes forward for final decisions on selecting a consultant and moving forward. That's what I have for you at this time, Mr. Mayor. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
So this cooperative research, was it brought forward to the city by these entities?
No, this is something I've been discussing with Administrator Valiant on kind of taking that rebranding approach for the city. And as we were developing the RFP, and we had met with Councilmember Osk and Councilmember Davis, as well as city staff, of just how do we want to take this forward to the next step. And this was maybe 2 months ago at this point. And so again, we wanted to move this forward. We drafted the RFP, and why not reach out to those participating entities or partnering entities that we share so much in common with. So we approached them.
Okay. Councilmember Butterfield.
What is the estimate for the cost for this going to be?
Thank you, Councilmember Butterfield. This, right now, we don't know, but like with anything, there will be a range. It all is depending on what we want, what we see as valued, or what we want to be accomplished during this proposal study. We've received numbers from people that are more familiar with this, and I would put a number on it, maybe between $10,000 and $50,000. But again, it all has to do with what we want to see accomplished with this.
And then follow up, how will this benefit the Citizens Award for in the city of Willmar?
That's a great question, and I think I touched on a little bit of these, but One of the things, like we said, would be producing tangible results. What can we do to show in economic development, for example? What I think it sends a clear message and a good message to any businesses that would want to come to Willmar, and you can show that unification, that same theme, consistent theme throughout. It just shows that we're a professional organization. We want your business to be here, and I think residents can take pride in that. When this is, like I said, when it's done right and implemented in the correct way, everyone's going to be proud. Our goal would be for everyone to be proud of this. But as a something you can hold, it won't be something like that. Maybe so it's not going to be a physical thing that you can hold and see results on, but it's going to be the economic impact, the tourism, the education impacts, the draw that we hope to get from doing this.
The marketing.
The marketing, exactly. Everything that goes with it.
Okay. Councilmember Schultes.
So we have examples of all the different logos from the groups in town, or some of them anyway. And I look at Mr. Hansen's shirt and know immediately he's WFD, Willmar Fire Department. I know immediately Officer Felt is Willmar PD. Are we looking at every group having the same thing? Would there be anything to set them apart?
Yes, there, specifically for those two, Chief Felt and Chief Hansen can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the state only allows you to have certain design limitations on your logo. It has to encompass the shield of some sort, I believe, and the same with the fire department. But how can we implement a new brand within that? What's authorized for them to do would be what our goal would be. So it might look a little bit different, but it would still be City of Willmar. You would know City of Willmar Police Department, Fire Department. You would still be able to make that identification.
Okay.
Question.
Councilmember O'Brien.
I look at your gap, $10,000 to $50,000. I just shake my head and wonder why we can't put a committee together and just sit down to do this ourselves.
We absolutely could. Like I said, I'm not a marketing professional. I don't, and to the best of my knowledge, I think we have great staff. I know we have great staff, but we do not have marketing specialists at that capacity to, I think, move this in the right direction, in the right way we'd want to see it. If we just want to put together a policy or a logo or a picture, I think we could absolutely do that without having to do this. But I think we'll be right back here in a 5, 7, 10 years wanting to do this again, because the story isn't there with what we would want to accomplish.
Okay.
Councilmember Osmus.
No, me.
Leslie?
Oh, Leslie. I thought you were pointing.
Oh, I pointed way up.
Me. I can answer some of that for you, Mr. O'Brien, because this has been a conversation with these entities for a long, long time. Ever since I've been was in Spicer, and this was also a discussion with the chamber, with the Vision 2040, with the EDC, and it was, we need a tagline for the city of Willmar. Let's try to develop a tagline for the city of Willmar. Well, that happened, I believe, at the chamber level, and nothing ever came about it, and there was never any professional services that went along with that, and so nothing ever happened with it. And now is, like Kyle had said, that this is the opportune time. Now the city is looking at moving ahead with something new for the city hall. It's time to also look at the branding for the whole city as a community. And our city should be looking at it as a business. Because if you think of anything in advertising, something always reminds you of something that happens, right? So, the Oscar Mayer theme song, I think everybody here could probably sing the Oscar Mayer theme song. That's what goes with branding, and that's what happens to be remembered. And I think we need to be out there that when somebody sees something, it reminds them of the city of Willmar. Just like part of our branding for the parks. Now, you've got Robbins Island, they all have copper roofs. You have Rice Park, and it has a copper roof. So when somebody sees that kind of a building, they know that it's owned by the city of Willmar. It's a public building owned by the city of Willmar. So those are the kind of themes you want to always continue, because it takes a long time to change something. And it goes back, even with my conversations in Spicer, how you want to have your city signs. All your city signs should look the same. You should not deviate from that. And so that should also play a part then in how our signage goes forward. I mean, I know out at Rowell Park, I think they're brown and white signs for the park now. They're not reflective of the city red W. You have a white W out there, and so now you've got things like that have already been deviated from. And so that it's important that you stay with the theme and you continue that all the way through. And it just develops, and then people, when they see something, they know that it belongs to the city because you've developed that theme going forward.
I agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying that I just think we have some very
Yeah.
professional people that could do this.
They tried it without professional people, and it hasn't gone anywhere.
Okay.
Councilmember Butterfield.
Following up on about the police and fire department. So are we gonna have to put new logos on all our vehicles, public works, city officials?
That would be
And all
the,
that?
that would be the ultimate goal, and it would be, we would likely propose that would be phased in over time.
Yes.
It's not gonna be one day and done. It's gonna cost money to do
So
this
then
over time.
After this rebranding, we're still gonna see probably upwards to $100,000.
I would hate to put a number on it at this point, but yeah, we'll have to spend more money over time to update things, yes.
All right,
Thank you.
Councilmember Osk.
Yeah, having sat with this group for an hour, 2 hours, would you say, Councilwoman? I think it became very obvious in that conversation that the group that was assembled wasn't going to be able to go as far as we'd want to, right? You know, we're not going to be able to hit that quality that we know that we need to do it the right way. And, you know, it's interesting, I think, for me, when we hear like that this is something that's being requested by the chamber, when this is something that the EDC says is important, like that grabs my attention for the economic development that this can bring in, like that this matters to them. Like the people that know this are telling us that it's important, and to do it right and to do it with that highest possible quality, I think is what we want to do. We want a whole family of logos. I mean, they're not all going to look the same, but you should be able to look at something and be like, that's got to be the Willmar PD and not the Spicer PD, because that matches the one that I know and I see out at Robbins Island. And to look, you brought us a whole bunch of different logos from different cities around the state too. And the ones that have done this right stand out from the rest of them, right? They tell a story. They invoke a certain feeling. Like some of them I thought were kind of witty and humorous, but like there's plenty of different ones out there that have done this the right way, and Willmar should want to do it the right way too. Thank you.
That's why I asked you if it had come from someplace else, because I respect the opinion of each one of those entities, and we're in the middle of some great growth within our city, and I think we need to be on top of these things to make ourselves saleable. Councilmember Schultes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So another way to look at this, it may cost us $50,000, $75,000, whatever at the upper end, we don't know. But that could bring back that money, pay for itself fairly quickly.
I think so.
Potentially.
That would be the intent of this, is to attract all of the above, what we talked about earlier. And again, I
know you can't put a number on it.
It's hard to put a number on it. Yes, it is. It will cost the city real dollars to do this, but like you had said, council member, I think we'll be able to capture some of that back when this is implemented correctly. And I have to give credit where credit is due. Our staff, one of our staff members, Dave Hillebrand, actually put that PowerPoint presentation together, and I think he did a really kickstarted this and did a fantastic job as well.
Councilmember Davis.
Well, he kind of said what I was going to say. I think it's worth every penny because we are a regional center and this will make us look more professional. I think it will draw in more business. I think it'll be worth it.
Okay. Anything else? Councilmember Osk.
I'd just like to offer the motion to allow staff to release an RFP for the rebrand.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any questions? Roll call.
Councilmember Osk? Oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Now, we're not voting on, we're going through with this, we're just gonna vote on it to see what the numbers come in, that's when we're gonna make a final call.
Yes.
It'll be
We're only
RFP.
sending out the RFP.
Yep, this, you will see this again before any more decisions are made. This is just to collect information at this point.
Okay. Roll call.
Councilmember Osk?
Aye.
Davis?
Aye.
Schultes?
Aye.
O'Brien?
Aye.
Butterfield?
Aye.
Osmus?
Aye.
Bagerly?
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. All right, so now a resolution to acknowledge donations for the first quarter. Judy?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, in the past, when we receive donations from various organizations or individuals, we report to the council quarterly. And for the first quarter of 2023, we have a few donations that I'd like to acknowledge. We received $500 from True Journey Advisors for Parks and Recreation intramural basketball, $500 from Quality Title of Willmar for the Parks and Recreation intramural basketball, $150 from Iron Warriors Motorcycle Club to the Willmar Police Explorers, $150 from the Iron Warriors Motorcycle Club to the Willmar Fire Department, and $250 from Marcus Construction for Parks and Recreation Little Cardinals Recreational Soccer.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve. Questions? Roll call.
Councilmember Davis?
Aye.
Schultes?
Aye.
O'Brien?
Aye.
Butterfield?
Aye.
Osmus?
Aye.
Bagerly?
Aye.
Osk?
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Motion passes. A resolution passes. All right. Frank? You're up. Tell us about the Raymond and the derailment.
Our excitement last week. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I'm sure you may have heard, maybe not heard, I don't know, that we had a train derailment happen in Raymond last Thursday morning. Yes. Basically, about 1 o'clock in the morning, we got called, our hazmat team from Willmar got called to Raymond for a train derailment. Our page came in as approximately 40 cars, rail cars on the ground, with a whole bunch burning, which kind of got me excited a little bit. So we went there. Basically, when I got towards just maybe on our side of Priam, I could actually see the glow of the fire, so which makes you a little bit more nervous. I was actually the third vehicle there, and I counted about 6 rail cars on fire. With a whole bunch, I think actually was my quote, was a whole bunch of them on the ground. So the cause of the derailment is still under investigation, and I think it'll be a little while. We met with the engineer and the person he was actually training in, and Deputy Chief Grave met with them while I surveyed the scene. And then they met with the Raymond Fire Chief. So things started going well. We trained for this frequently and hope it never happens. It happened. And I can't say everything went smooth, but it went very well. It went very well. The Raymond Fire Chief was on top of everything. We were assisting him the best we could. And it's incredible. I was there. I was on scene in Raymond for a little over 17 hours. CERT came out, Chief Felt, I believe you were in Princeburg, correct? Captain Anderson, all in Princeburg dealing with the evacuees. From what I understand, that went very well there. Everything was good. Burlington Northern, Santa Fe, on top of things immediately. They flew in people from, the CEO from Fort Worth was in town about 8:30, 9 o'clock that morning. They brought in firefighting crews from Fort Worth that work strictly with Burlington Northern Santa Fe. They were here about 10 o'clock. Their equipment showed up about noon. It was just amazing. We had approximately 28 fire departments there with about 40 vehicles, either tanker trucks with water. We had some pumpers. We had New London's aerial there. So it was pretty spectacular. Everybody responded well. So they were still in the midst of cleaning stuff up. I believe the rail is open now. Highway 23 is open. They lose, a little over $1 million an hour when that rail is closed. It's one of the main rails. So the quicker they could get that thing open, the better. So
I was on the phone early that morning with Fire Chief Neal and with, who was that? Mayor Tenson.
Oh, sure. Ardell, yep.
Yeah, and they were very appreciative of the assistance and the speed at which everybody got there. How in the world did Fort Worth people and equipment get there so quick?
Jets.
That's
That's the
amazing.
fortunate thing of us having, a good airport too. A big enough airport to handle their stuff coming in. They brought, most of their equipment came from North Dakota. We had firefighting crews that work with BNSF actually come out of Canada. They were here. It was just amazing. You didn't know, when you were talking to those guys, you didn't know what part of the world they were from. It's crazy because you could talk to a guy from Texas and turn around and talk to a guy from Calgary, and they're here to do the same thing. It was amazing. And like I said earlier, this is what we train for. And because we trained so much and we trained so well together, worked so well together, it kind of came off without a hitch. No injuries, very minor, it's going to be minor cleanup after the rails are done, that type of stuff. So we were very, very fortunate.
Another thing that I heard was the wonderful response of the community.
It was crazy.
Yeah, everybody said it was just fantastic.
Yep.
They had
it was
never
fantastic.
experienced anything like it before, they said.
Yep.
So,
Yep, it was. When we got there at 1 o'clock, our emergency people were evacuating people, and no one really argued about it. Not many argued about it once they figured out what was going on. It was a good plan to move everybody to Princeburg. I walked into, I don't remember what church it is in Raymond.
Unity.
Okay, Unity Church, and just to grab, I was hoping like maybe there was going to be like chips or a candy bar or something, because I have not had anything to eat since supper the night before. And walk in and they had barbecues and scalloped potatoes, and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's 10 o'clock. I don't mean to feed you this at 10 o'clock." And I'm like, "I'll take whatever you got." And it was wonderful. It was wonderful. So, and same down in Princeburg. Chief Felt ate incredible down there. He had good breakfast.
It takes a lot to maintain a body like that.
So it was good. The community came together, businesses came together. it was just an incredible experience. So,
Yeah, I'm glad it turned out as well as it did. I can't imagine what it would have been like if they would have been 500 feet back towards Willmar with the elevator there, and
yep,
that would have been a big mess.
it would have been a big mess.
Yeah,
Mayor Reese, Councilmember Osmus.
okay. She's waving at me. Julie, go ahead.
Question on communications. I know one of the biggest issues in the 35W bridge collapse was all the different agencies being able to communicate. Just wondering how all that went.
Surprisingly, that went very well. We had 4 or 5 different radio channels going for different activities. Everybody stayed in their own lane, and nobody really talked on each other. It went smooth. It went smooth. Knock on wood, it doesn't happen again. But I was very impressed. And obviously, we learned some stuff that we can do better, and that's what happens.
Our emergency services personnel, city of Willmar, get 10 attaboys.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
But I had several guys that were there 17 hours that day as well, and the funny thing is we had just had a garage fire, and I got home like it was about 12 minutes I think I counted, and pretty much just changed clothes, and then this page went off and we went to that. So me, like a lot of other guys that were there, were up over 39, 40 hours in a row. So I can't say enough about us and everybody that was there.
They made us proud. You tell your boys that.
I will do that. I will do that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Frank. Any
Very well.
other questions for Frank? Thanks. All right, any other Pride announcements? If not, we'll go to the closed session. This closed meeting is pursuant to Minnesota Statute 13D.05 subdivision 3C to develop or consider offers or counteroffers for cities, purchase or sale of real property and/or to determine the asking price for real property to be sold by the city. Is that it? I keep reading? Okay. The introduction, legal basis for closing the meeting. This portion of the regular meeting of the city council will be closed pursuant to Minnesota statutes. I read that. Section 13D.05 subdivision 3C. The council will not be asked to take any formal action after concluding the discussions in a closed session. The following real property will be discussed separately in the closed session. Parcel 95-699-2020 Rockstep Willmar LLC. We need a motion to go to closed session. Okay, we got a motion.
Second.
And a second. Roll call.
Councilman O'Brien. Closing at 7.
Motion passes. We're going to
19.
close session. All right?
Okay.